Four Seasons is one of the first explicitly programmatic works in classical Western music, which means that it's meant specifically to evoke visual imagery or to tell a story, as opposed to absolute music, which is just music for music's sake. So because of this, it has an important place in the evolution of classical music. But the thing that makes it really special is that it didn't end up just as a footnote in some history textbook, because Vivaldi didn't just write a piece with beautiful melodies. He didn't just write a piece that's architecturally well constructed and that helps solidify the form of the standard concerto, which is in 3 movements, fast, slow, fast. He didn't just do all of those things. He also was so successful in evoking the language of the sonnet that each of the seasons is based off of, that as an audience member, even if you don't know the sonnet, even if you don't know the words that are the inspiration for the music, you can still hear the birds singing. You can still see the peasants dancing. And if we do it right, you can still feel the influence of Bacchus's wine during the harvest in autumn. To prepare for any performance, there's a lot of doing what I call homework, doing the score study to make sure that you're really aware of everything that's going on around you, all of the mental preparation that includes visualization and meditation, and all of the things to help control nerves on stage. The most important thing, though, that I think that a lot of people are surprised to hear is that the biggest thing that I think about is what to wear. Playing a musical instrument is extremely physical, and I really think of musicians as small muscle or fine motor skills athletes. And like any athlete, what you wear can affect performance. So as a violinist, it's very important that I have free range of motion in my arms and shoulders and back. I have to make sure that whatever is on my shoulder doesn't interfere with my relationship with my instrument. And I have to make sure that I wear the right shoes, because not only am I standing for a long time, but nothing makes a performance more memorable than tripping on or off stage. I think the thing that's the most challenging about this piece is how extremely recognizable it is. And that, combined with the fact that it's highly technical and extremely virtuosic, leaves very little wiggle room for error. Chances are people will know if I make a mistake. In that same vein, it's also very difficult to settle on an interpretation because it's been played so many times by so many different people that it's hard to find a way to make it my own and to make it something that's worth seeing. And what I really think about is trying to balance kind of a historically informed performance practice when it comes to articulations. Baroque players often have a very lovely decay, use very little vibrato. And what we can do with modern instruments, which also can include a very long legato phrase, more vibrato, more expression. So trying to find a balance between those two things is really important in this piece. This piece is really special in a lot of ways, and in my preparation for this performance, I realized that I had a perception of the Four Seasons from before, which was that generally speaking, I thought of it as a very joyous, buoyant, happy piece. But now delving into it for this performance, I realized that there's actually a lot of moments when Vivaldi opens the door to the darker emotions, fear and death. And it can range from slightly comical fears, like slipping on the ice in wintertime, to when the ice cracks open and you fall in. Similarly, in summer, the entire second movement is the shepherd being fearful of storms that are coming and fearful of what will happen. And then the last movement is these storms coming and destroying his crops, which can be a matter of life and death. And it even gets more explicit in the last movement of Autumn. It's a hunt, and I always thought of it as a very buoyant, happy thing that you can hear the horses and the dogs and the horns calling, and it's very exuberant. But actually, at a certain point, Vivaldi pivots to the viewpoint, from the viewpoint of the hunters to the viewpoint of the animal being hunted. And the animal being hunted is scared and tries to run away, tries to flee, tries to escape, and in the end actually ends up dying. So I think that's another reason that Vivaldi has, this piece particularly, has withstood the test of time, because it really opens the door to the real questions and the real contemplations of life that we all experience. So I hope you enjoy this performance as much as I enjoy playing for you.